Do you ever feel like your paycheck disappears before you know it, before the month even ended? I know, we've all been there. And that's why in this video, I want to share with you my money routine that will help you get your finances in check and grow your net worth over time. This is basically the flow of receiving my income and then all the way where I spend it, allocate it to make sure I maximize my investments. So obviously I'm going to go through each of those, explain you what it is and show you why this is a much better way than spending on your expenses first and only invest afterwards. I think that kind of flow and process will be a real game changer for you. Right, and the very first thing that happens right at the beginning of the month, hopefully you'll be getting your salary, or if you're self-employed like I am myself, you'll get your income or your company profits that you pay out to yourself. So for most people, it looks like a funnel, right? The money, salary, income, whatever it is, comes in every month in your bank account, and then you do all the things you have to do with your money, pay the rent, pay the bills, go on a trip, what have you. And at the end of the month, hopefully you manage to have something left, and then that little, what you have left, maybe if you're financially responsible, you can then put towards investing. But unfortunately, for a lot of people, at the end of the month, they don't have anything left, right? So then they postpone investing for another month. And that's actually the problem, because then you'll never get to investing, and then you will not benefit from compound interest using money and growing it over time. The time can really be your best friend or worst enemy. So it's very important that we flip that funnel around, and that's what I'm going to show you in my model to make sure you prioritize investing. Right, so all of us receive one way or the other our income, salary, whatever it is. And then the first thing that I do myself and recommend all of you to do as well is to complete a monthly budget and net worth tracker. Honestly, that's been really such a game changer for me. Doing this every single month now for a number of years, I've really seen the trend, right? Where I'm spending a lot, where I'm saving money, where I'm investing too much or too little, and see my net worth grow over time. Because if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And otherwise you're just thinking, I think I'm saving, and that's why I made this sheet here available. I really recommend it. You'll find it down in the description below. You can download it free of charge. Just make sure you make a copy of it to your own files, and then you can edit it to your heart's content. But basically all you have to do is fill it out every single month. I'll do it every first of the month. I just come in here, and for whatever month we're in, basically let's say we're in January, I put my income, right? If you just have a salary, that's totally fine. You obviously delete all the other lines, you say a salary, and that's it. That's your income for the month. Then you continue on the spending, right? And here, obviously you can put as much detail as you want or as little, really up to you. I'm using, come to this in a second, my Revolut Analytics. So that already classifies all my spendings automatically. So I just have to open up the app and then jump in here and then fill out those details, because I don't want to add up, and I really don't recommend you to manually, export your bank statements, add up all those numbers. You want to make it as quick as possible. I mean, this sheet doesn't take me more than 15 minutes to complete. So just go through whatever is relevant over here. So then you see how much you earn, how much you spend, and it will automatically show you your profit and loss for specific months. Ideally, you want to have a profit, right? It means your income is higher than your spendings for that month. And obviously, if you do it at the beginning of the month, that will be for the last month. That's usually what I do. At the current months, on the first of the new month, I do it for the last month, because then I have all those numbers already in place. Because in my case, for example, my income doesn't all come on the first, because I do get different income sources and they come throughout the month. So at the end of the month, I will have the entire income for the whole month. And then another point a lot of people actually forget is to track their assets, right? Because I don't know about you, but I have a number of bank accounts, right, that I have. So it's really hard to know how much is my total cash reserve that I have there. So I list that all over here, and you can add as many banks or holdings where you keep your cash, and that will give you a total to really know how much you have sitting in cash around, right? Then you have your various investments, and here you can put your brokerages, your crypto exchanges. I have my ledger, my hardware wallet as well. So I just go into those apps and put the number at that moment, because obviously some of those prices change, right? My Bitcoin holding, for example, right? If it's a good month, it will be higher value. If it's a low month, it will be lower value. But still, at that very moment in time, I have a snapshot of my total net worth. Then I also add my apartments over here. If you have any real estate, you can add any more if you want to. If you don't, just leave it at zero. And then basically I can see my total net worth. Like if somebody asks you, how much are you worth right now? Then I know immediately what is that number. And it's not just about knowing the number, right? Don't benchmark to yourself to others, because if you're starting your career, obviously your net worth is going to be lower than somebody who's been 30 years in a successful career. But what is important to see the trend over time, and then you will start seeing that graph hopefully going up, because your net worth grows, and that will show you the importance of prioritizing investing, because if you don't invest into any of those over here, that number likely will not grow, right? So that's very important. You can also track some other KPIs. I track my YouTube subscribers. By the way, if you haven't subscribed yet, will be a good moment to do so. But yeah, basically you can add anything over here as well. So I think that's super, super powerful and something I really recommend all of you. Now, before we move on to the next point, I'm feeling extra generous today, and that's why I want to give you an amazing opportunity to one lucky person to join the Smart Money Club, which is really an amazing community and platform of like-minded people where we talk about all things money, investing, personal finance. I think you're going to really enjoy it. And I'm actually going to give a 1-year complimentary membership, which you can see right now would be valued at 320 euros per year. So I'm giving this away free of charge to one lucky person. All you have to do is comment Smart Money Club under this video, and next week on Instagram I will make a raffle draw. And exactly 1 week from now, when this video was published, which will be next Sunday, on my Instagram I will share the lucky winners. Write Smart Money Club and follow me on Instagram, and I will share the lucky winner over there to get a 1-year complimentary Smart Money Club membership. Then I go into my business bank account. That's basically where all my income goes automatically. Now, I have a company based in Dubai, and by law you need to have a separate business account from your personal accounts. If you don't have your own business or you're employed, that will be your local bank account, right? In my previous job, when I was employed, I used to be a luxury hotel general manager. I wanted actually to get my salary into my Revolut account, but some employers, they're quite particular. They have agreements with banks. So that's totally fine. Don't worry about it. You can just get the money into your local bank account. Often they're really not the best banks, and I don't recommend them. I never used them myself. As soon as it came onto my local bank account, I then send it to Revolut. And that's kind of the main holding hub, right? The funnel where the money comes in. And from there, I start distributing it to different places. The first one will be my emergency fund. Now, if you don't have an emergency fund yet, that's basically saving money, depending on your life situation. If you have a family, kids, it might be more than if you're just single. People say anywhere from 3 to 6. Some people even say 12 months. That might be the extreme case. I usually tend to go for 3 to 6 months of your monthly living expenses. So if you spend in a month 1,000 euros, that would be 3,000, or in the case of 6 months, 6,000 euros that you want to be having in cash in an account that hopefully gives you some interest on it, not just at 0%, which most local banks give you. So in my case, I like to have a bit more cash sitting on the sidelines. So I usually go for 6 times my monthly living expenses. That's what I'm going to be having in my emergency fund. So if that's filled out and I have enough cash sitting there, obviously, then I will not do that on a monthly basis. But in case I don't have enough, as it has been the case with me in recent times, because I had so many cash expenses, we're in the midst of renovating an apartment, we paid an annual rent in Dubai, we're about to buy a car, so a lot of cash expenses. So right now I need to prioritize reestablishing my emergency fund, because you never know what happens, right? That's why it's called emergency fund, because you do not know what's going to happen. If you do have an emergency where you need that cash, you don't want to be ending up selling your investments, because right then the market might be down and you will be losing money. So make sure you have that in place. And I really make sure my money works for me. I keep it in places like Trading 212, for example, where I currently get 4.2% interest on my cash. Another great broker where I get around 3.75% interest on my cash. Lightyear, another great option as well. Another one is Revolut, where I get 5.3% on my US dollars, so really quite attractive. And of course my WIO personal. So in addition to my business account, I have also a WIO personal account where I get 5% on my dirham holding. You can really see I'm very strategic where I'm putting my money to make sure I benefit from protection level, and at the same time I'm really maximizing the returns or interest I'm getting from my money. So really, I'm really happy with this. And as I said, once I fulfilled my emergency fund and it's done, then obviously in future months, I'll be skipping that. I'll just keep the money sitting over there, accumulating interest. And last month alone, I got over 300 euros in interest. So really, it makes sense to really maximize your money. And from there, once the emergency is filled, or at least I made my contributions to it, I will then go to investments. Right now, I have been investing a little bit less because my priority is on the emergency fund. But as soon as that is filled up to the level that I feel comfortable with, then I will go back to more regular investing. At the same time though, I still love investing so much that I kind of balance it right now by contributing some money to the emergency fund to slowly rebuilding it, and from time to time still investing, because I just can't help it. If I see a good buying opportunity, I just have to put my money into the market to work and grow for me. So here I use a couple of different options for my investments. The first one is Interactive Brokers. So that's basically my broker of choice, where I have the majority of my stock portfolio, where I buy my S&P 500 ETF. And yeah, that's sitting with Interactive Brokers. They're not completely free. They do charge me a small commission, but I really trust them. It's arguably the biggest broker in the world, available in pretty much most countries. So really, really trusted source. I made a number of videos about this. So if you're interested, check it out. And for all the tools I'm talking about today, you will find actually a link in the description below that will give you some great sign up bonus. Like in the case of Trading 212, if you sign up with them, you will get a free share valued up to 100 euros. So definitely check it out. I think some great options for you. So yeah, on the topic of Trading 212, that's where I also buy my S&P 500 holding. And as I've shown you before, I keep quite significant funds over there, my cash holdings. as I get really attractive interest on my money. On interactive brokers, sadly not so much. That's why I really only keep my investments over there, not idle cash, because otherwise I would just be sitting around losing money to inflation. So I prefer keeping my cash with trading 212. Of course, also some other apps that I use and try from time to time, but I would say those are the two main apps that I use for my stock and ETF investments. Then we move on to Nexo, which is my crypto exchange of choice. I've been using them for a number of years, and that's the main place where I basically buy my one and only crypto, and that is Bitcoin. Now I'm a Bitcoin maximalist. I used to have different altcoins as well in the past, but in the end, it all came back to having Bitcoin. So I really love that. I buy it through there. It's very easy to send my money from Revolut to Nexo. It literally takes a matter of seconds. Once it's there, I can convert it to Bitcoin. And then what I do, obviously, with my Bitcoin, I will send it to my Ledger hardware wallet to really take self-custody of my Bitcoin and self-ownership, right? Because we've all seen exchanges going bust in recent times. Now, Nexo has been doing extremely well, but I would not keep all my funds over there because you just never know, right? So I think it's a great exchange, but ultimately you want to take self-custody of it. Now, I also keep some stable coins over there. Right now, I keep USDT, which is basically the equivalent in a way like a digital dollar. I keep it over there and I'm getting 10% interest on my USDT. So that's annual interest. So that's really quite attractive and yet another passive income source for me. Now, once the emergency is filled and I've done my weekly and monthly investments, I then start sending money from my Wio account to my Revolut account, right? Because that's my daily banking app in a way that I use to do my daily transactions. And I just love the app. It's just so easy. And I wish every bank was as user-friendly as Revolut. And yeah, I've just been using them for a number of years, for I think over 9 years now. I'm on the highest plan, the Revolut Ultra plan. I pay 540 euros for that, but I get a lot of perks. I made a video about this, why for me it's actually worth it. And yeah, with this basically I pay for all my monthly expenses. And you see how I flip the funnel around, right? Instead of paying for the monthly expenses first, I pay it after all the previous things. So it just shows you on the priority level, it's on the lower end. That also means in case I need to allocate more money for investments or my emergency fund, I have less money to spend, right? Because we all have a certain amount of income. So if I ended up spending more money on those two things before, then, well, maybe I have to cut down on some of my expenses, eat out less, cook more at home, travel a little bit less. So that really keeps you on check. And most people do the other way around. They first spend and pay for all the expenses and only then invest. So that's a real important differentiation. And from there, you also get amazing analytics. I really love that Revolut classifies all the expenses. So if you go to a coffee shop, it knows it's a coffee shop and it goes under the coffee category. Same if I go to a supermarket, buy some food, it will go under groceries. So later on, when I complete my monthly budget net worth tracker, it's so easy to fill out those categories. So I really recommend you, if you don't use Revolut, that's totally fine. But find the app that has this kind of spending analytics built in, which is really powerful. And lastly, I use it for the cashback because right now I'm getting 1.2% cashback on every transaction as I'm using the Revolut Pro card for this. And yeah, 1.2% in Europe is actually really attractive. And I don't know any other card that offers you such a high cashback. Others give you miles and points, but I like money, right? So at the end of the month, they actually send me the money in my account and I can use it for spendings again. And in addition to using Revolut, I also use my Wio personal account and card for my everyday spending. So depending on where I am, obviously if I'm based in Europe or anywhere else in the world, I use mostly my Revolut card. If I'm based in Dubai, where I spend most of the year, then I will be using my Wio personal account with my card over there. It's a local bank account. It's actually really dynamic, in a way quite similar to Revolut, the UAE alternative. And I'm really happy with this. So if you only have one account, then it makes perfect sense. You can combine those two into one. And once again, I use Wio personal to pay for my monthly expenses only after the investments in the emergency fund. That also offers a great way to track your analytics. It's also inbuilt, so I really love that. It just makes completing my sheets later on so much easier to track where I'm spending a lot, where I have to cut down later on. So I really love that. And I also get cashback over here, only 1%. With a debit card, you can get up to 2% if you use the credit card. So that's actually quite attractive. So I probably should get a credit card. I was never a big fan of credit cards, but honestly, 2% cashback in fiat money. So I would get dirhams back. Really quite attractive. So I'll probably have to do that very soon. And from here, we move to the last two categories that I always do every single month. One is the charity that I support. It's actually not charity, it's supporting a dog shelter in Lithuania, which I have done now for a number of years. And every single month I make a transfer. I'm really an animal lover. I have a dog myself. And honestly, I have been to some of those shelters and it's really heartbreaking. So for me, just sending a little bit to support them, there's a lot of volunteers. It just, feels right. And obviously I would like to do much more, send higher amounts, support more charities. other shelters as well. And hopefully in the future, I will be able to increase this amount. I actually have an automated transfer to that dog shelter. I think it's just a nice thing to do, to give back also. Other people like to support other charities. That's totally fine. I think the amount doesn't matter. Just get in the habit of supporting. And the last thing I do as part of my monthly money routine is to check my subscriptions. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm really a sucker for subscriptions. I have so many subscriptions. And actually at some point, it really got hard to track. And I just didn't know how much I'm spending every month on subscriptions. And that's why I actually came up with my own subscription tracker in Notion, where I really have all my various subscriptions. You can see right now, I'm spending 965 euros every single month on subscriptions. I mean, it's crazy. And yeah, I'm really happy with this overview because yeah, it took me a while to build it, but now I can really see which of those are active. You know, what is the status? Is it a monthly? Is it the yearly? If it's monthly, do they have a yearly option available where I could potentially be saving money? How much do I spend in a month? How much is that in a year? When is the renewal date? So now basically on the calendar view, you see over here, I see every single day when there's a subscription. I can look the next week ahead. I can see, oh, this subscription is coming up. Maybe I want to cancel it before, right? So I never, get surprised by a charge that I didn't want to pay for anymore. So I go back into the active one over here. I can also see the purpose of the subscription, the expense, is it a personal or business one, which card I use, as well as any comments. And the cool thing is, in case I cancel any of those, I can just click into here, change the status, maybe cancel, then I will think about if I should keep it or not. And if I change it to cancel, it will be in here where is the cancel tab, and I can see all my canceled subscriptions. And in case I want to activate one of them, it's very easy just to go back in and don't have to type it all out again. So honestly, really love that sheet. And best of all, I made it available for you free of charge. So you'll find it once again also down in the description below, and you can start using it. Honestly, it's such a game changer. You can really stay on top of all your subscriptions. So there you have it, my monthly money routine. It really makes sure that I prioritize my emergency fund and my investments, and only afterwards look after my expenses. That way I can make sure my money works for me, grows for me, and builds my net worth over time. If you have any questions about any of that, pop them down in the questions below. I get back to every single one of you. Next up, check out this video right here. As always, thanks a lot for watching. Stay healthy, get wealthy, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.